Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview. 3 drivers have a shot at winning the championship. The last number of times we have had a situation like this, the person leading the championship going into that race did not walk out as the world champion. You had I think it was Sebastian Vettel, his first championship, it was that style. I think you had Lewis Hamilton, his first title was in that kind of style. And you had a lot of others in that same style. But we're going to dive in to what may happen. I don't know why my voice just cracked there. We will look at what may happen on Sunday for the Formula One Championship in Abu Dhabi. I'm Dylan Hildreth. This is the Dylan Hildreth Show. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any football, racing, and all that jazz. So, without further ado, let's dive into this bad boy, shall we? As it sits, going into Abu Dhabi, 408 points for Lando Norris, 396 points for Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, 392. Now, I'm going to focus more on Lando and Max because those are the top 2. Those are the most likely. That is where the race is. And quite simply, if Max Verstappen, he repeats 2021 and wins in Abu Dhabi, and I think he repeated in 22 and 23, and I think he won in 20. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, Abu Dhabi's been very friendly to Max Verstappen. So I'm just going to get that one out of the way. I think Max Verstappen wins this race. I think he wins the final Grand Prix of the 2025 season, the final Grand Prix of this package, and that will set the stage of Lando Norris. He has to finish onto the podium in order to be champion. Now, if Max does not win the race, then Lando can finish as low as 6th. If Max is on the podium, he can afford to finish as low as 8th. And if Max is outside the podium, Lando can finish as low as, it says here, 11th. But I mean, that's just way too far out there. Now, who are the drivers that could potentially rain on Lando Norris's parade in pursuit of the in pursuit? God, I got so many weird texts. What was I saying? The drivers that could interfere in Lando Norris's pursuit of a world champion, or of becoming a world champion. Quite frankly, I think we could see Charles Leclerc. If we see the Mercedes, that is going to be interesting, because that is going to create a whole different ballgame. Because with that, we have heard, at least on the broadcast, them the broadcast teams hinting at, Mercedes, they're not going to fight McLaren that hard. They may even give up spots to the McLaren to help them win because of the engine alliance, or McLaren buying engines from the Mercedes. That way, at least Mercedes can say that their engine won the world championship. Now, when it's within teams, I'm completely okay with that. It's a part of Formula One. It happens. Even though that's going to be a discussion that I'm going to have here in just a little bit. But if Mercedes are intentionally moving out of the way and not running hard to help the McLarens against Red Bull, I think the FIA they need to step in, and I am a little surprised that the FIA hasn't stepped in and said, "Hey, you can do it within teams." Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Or they come out and just kind of reiterate, like, we need to protect the integrity of Formula One. Plain and simple. We could absolutely see that. But I don't think they've come out and said anything about that. Now, on the same note, I do want to reiterate, as I said in my review of the Qatar Grand Prix, that moment with Kimi Antonelli and Lando Norris towards the end of the race, that was a real, true snap from Kimi Antonelli. I reiterated that in the review of Qatar, and I'm going to reiterate it now. However, I am not naive enough to believe that there is a genuine chance that the Mercedes does get involved in a way to where they stay out of they get out of the way of Max or of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Now, if that happens, I mean, the FIA is going to be absolutely furious. It does hurt the integrity. Now, I do know NASCAR, they were trying to placate to that having that sort of issue, but that's a little bit different because I think NASCAR just really overreacted on that. But nonetheless, so I have the what happened last year up on my screen. Obviously, I can't show it because the Formula One will put a strike on it. But this race last year was a one-stop race for pretty much everybody. We saw Max Verstappen. He and Oscar Piastri, they spun out on the first lap. Max was able to recover to 6th. Oscar was able to recover to 10th. And Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, the Ferraris, and Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, they had themselves a day, moving up 16 spots for Leclerc, 12 spots for Hamilton. And we could very well see the Ferraris, well, Charles Leclerc anyway. We could see the Mercedes and Charles Leclerc get in there and kind of muddy it up a little bit. Make it a little bit more difficult for Lando Norris to get on that podium. Because that's all Lando needs to do. Get on the if Lando Norris is on the podium, he is the world champion. No matter what Max does. He can win this race by 50 laps. If Lando is on the podium, he is the champion. So he's going to need Piastri there as a buffer to take second. And he's going to need either George Russell, he's going to need Charles Leclerc, Kimi Antonelli. We could even see maybe Carlos Sainz and that Williams get on the podium one last time in the 2025 season. We could see maybe one of the RBs. We could see Fernando Alonso make his debut on the podium of the season. I mean, Max just needs needs two cars in between him and Norris to be the world champion. And you also have to factor in that when it comes to these high pressure situations, there is an opportunity where either Lando chokes it away, could be in qualifying. You're going on that hot lap in Q2, and all of a sudden the car snaps out on you, and you're in the wall. And maybe you don't set a time for Q2, or even doomsday scenario Q1. Because Abu Dhabi, it's not the easiest place to pass. It is a tough track to be able to get through the field. It's not impossible. As last year, as I mentioned, Leclerc and Hamilton, they moved up 16 and 12 spots, respectively. And Alex Albon in the Williams, he moved up 11. Now, granted, you have 5 cars out 1 year ago. But nonetheless, it is not the easiest track to be making moves on. So if we do get a Lando mistake in qualifying, if we do get a McLaren blunder in the strategy, this could very well hurt any shot at Lando winning his first world championship. There are so many mental things that are working against McLaren. It is hard to deny Max Verstappen being able to win this thing. You have Las Vegas, the disastrous result of a double DQ because the plank was too worn. And then you have the disastrous strategy call by the McLarens. And then you have and we've seen this throughout the year. Granted, last weekend, McLaren pulled off the fastest pit stop we've seen. However, they have been known to make mistakes on pit road. And instead of maybe a 2.5 second, 3 second stop, maybe it's a 4 second stop. Now, Red Bull, they have had a off year as far as pit stop speed. They absolutely have. Now, I'm curious on who had the fastest lap a year ago. In Abu Dhabi. Oh, it doesn't show me. So, Lando did have the fastest lap of the championship contenders. At a 1:27.43. Max's fastest lap came at a 1:27.76. So, has Red Bull made up that 0.3 of a second? Now, I don't think I have a. Now, it could be one of those situations where Max did not qualify well here either last year. Max last year, he qualified 5th. McLaren's locked out the front row. And if that were to happen again, does Oscar go for it all? Does he try to win it all on lap 1? Because he's got to. Or does he be the good teammate and let Lando through and then play defense? Because that could very well be the team orders. Should we get a McLaren front row lockout with Max being back in 5th? If we get that same sort of situation. Because, again, qualifying is crucially important here. Crucially important. Now, let's see. Just kind of looking through here, making sure I got all the bases covered. But yeah. So it'll be a one-stop race. So it's going to be very hard for McLaren to screw it up. But what happens when something doesn't go as scheduled? What happens with the safety car? Are they going to be smart enough to make the right move when that safety car comes out? Or does it just come at a very ill-timed spot? Who knows? You got to be very quick on your feet in Formula 1. McLaren has shown that they are anything but. And that whole tire wear advantage that they've had throughout this year, I think that's going to be negated in this race. You have to remember, Abu Dhabi, it's under the lights. The track's not going to be as warm. It's not going to wear as much. So, Max. And then you have Max, who is going to be going for everything. There is going to be no inch of that track that Max hasn't explored by the time we get to that race to find every bit of a second, every bit of a tenth, every bit of a hundredth. And then when it comes to race time, he is going to put it all on the line on lap 1 if he is in a position to do so. He is going to go very high risk every single time because he is, in all reality, playing with house money. He does not have the fastest car by any stretch of the imagination. That is McLaren. Hell, Red Bull may not even have the second fastest car or even the third. I mean, we talk about how bad the Ferraris have been. They're still miles ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, which we're going to be talking about Yuki here in a minute, and that whole situation. But if Max is able to pull this one off, and we get a 5-time champion, Max Verstappen, not only should that cement Max Verstappen as the greatest driver to ever put on a helmet, McLaren, they are, and the American fans will understand this, they are the Atlanta Falcons of the McLarens. Now, for all my European friends out there, allow me to tell you a little story. You see, the Atlanta Falcons one year, they are a NFL American football team. And they had a tremendous team. And they went to the Super Bowl. They made it all the way to the Super Bowl to play the New England Patriots. And the Patriots, the greatest quarterback of all time. And this game really cemented that legacy, much like this could cement that legacy for Max Verstappen. Tom Brady did not play well in that first half. And then late in the third quarter, the Patriots were down 28-3. And then slowly but surely, but confidently, the Patriots made their comeback and ended up winning in overtime, making it the greatest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl. This, no doubt, will be the greatest comeback in the history of Formula One. I mean, for goodness sake. At Las Vegas, I went to bed fully convinced Max was out. He was not in contention for this world championship. Wake up the next morning. Oh, he is 100% in it with the double disqualification. There are many times throughout the year, and you can look at it, where I said, stick a fork in Max, it's over. And here we are. We are 58 laps? We are 58 laps away from potentially crowning Max Verstappen as the world champion again. 58 laps from what could be considered the greatest comeback in the history of Formula One. If there's a better comeback, let me know. Granted, I'm decently new to the sport, but I've been doing some homework. I've been using up at F1 TV as much as I can. But I mean, this comeback would cement Max's legacy as the greatest F1 driver to ever walk the face of the earth. Better than Lewis, better than Michael, better than the late great Ayrton Senna. The number one driver on the face of this earth to ever walk this blue marble will be Max Verstappen in that Red Bull. If he is able to do what, and if you said, "Oh, I didn't write him off for a moment," you're lying. You are absolutely lying. I mean, come on. If Max can pull this off, I mean, it would be this whole season needs to be studied and looked over with a fine-tooth comb. And McLaren, they will be the laughingstock of Formula One for who knows how long. And who knows if McLaren's going to hit they're going to hit the new regulations that are coming in 2026. So this could sting McLaren should they choke this away for a very, very long time. Give me Max Verstappen to win this race. Give me Oscar Piastri to finish second. And then give me Charles Leclerc to finish third. Now, here's the other question that we may have with this. There's a lot of what-if scenarios, but this one I want to float. What if we do get that situation? Max is in the lead. Oscar's in second. We'll put Charles Leclerc at third. And Lando Norris sitting in fourth. McLaren could absolutely tell Oscar, "Hey, we need you to come down to pit. Box. Comes down to box, and he loses the podium, but Lando wins the championship. Are F1 fans going to revolt against that sort of tomfoolery? I don't know. I get if it was like a third, fourth situation, but second to fourth? And I'm curious to see if Oscar would actually do it. Or would McLaren just simply say, "Hey, there is something wrong with the engine. We're getting it on our screen. We need you to come down and retire the car." Mm? Is anybody going to buy that? More importantly, is Oscar going to buy that? Or is he just going to say, nope, we're going to run it till it's dead. We ain't going to use this next year. We're going to run it till it's dead. So, who knows? Who knows? Now, I do want to point out, as we get into the final legs of the silly season, what little there was, is Red Bull has announced their lineup for 2026. And that is Max Verstappen. He's staying put, as we all already knew that very, very well. And then we have in the Red Bull seat, it will be Isaac Hadjar, the teammate to Max Verstappen. Now, before we get into the Racing Bulls, I do want to say that I do like this move. I think this move was absolutely justified. As soon as Yuki went up to that second Red Bull seat, he has absolutely disappeared into the ether. Isaac Hadjar outscored everybody, not named Max Verstappen. And we'll see what he can do in that Red Bull. And I will say, if Isaac Hadjar struggles in that Red Bull, I think Red Bull needs to be looking at the mirror instead of the driver. I mean, we're already past that point, given Lawson being successful in the RB and struggling horrendously in that Red Bull. But again, it's new regulations next year, so absolutely anything can happen. We could very well see Isaac Hadjar come out and get on the pole in Australia and lead every single lap and win the race. We could absolutely see that. And then, with the RBs, the Racing Bulls, it will be Liam Lawson and rookie Evan Lindblad. As Yuki Tsunoda, he is the odd man out. He will be the reserve driver, the sim driver. That is the role that Yuki is going to take. So, it is all in front of Isaac Hadjar and Lindblad to go out and perform in their new rides. Liam Lawson, he's kind of he's done well in the Racing Bulls. I need to see a little bit more consistency. Obviously, Red Bull, they don't have that free agency to go pluck somebody out of, like a Checo, to kind of right that ship quickly. But we obviously, with a new head man in charge, and oh my gosh, his completely escaped my mind. Laurent Mekies. Laurent Mekies, if he is far more patient than Christian Horner, and he lets Isaac grow into the seat, then we may see him actually develop into the driver we think he can be. And you let Lindblad develop in the Racing Bulls, and eventually take over Max's seat, then the future of Red Bull will be just fine. That's the key word for Red Bull: patience. It may not go well for the first half of the year. There is no need for any knee-jerk reactions. There isn't a Yuki Tsunoda sitting in the wings where you think he might be able to perform a lot better. You have Liam Lawson and you have Evan Lindblad. Obviously, Lindblad is not going to be an option for that Red Bull seat unless Lindblad just comes out and just lights the world on fire, quite like how Max did. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. We will absolutely see what happens. I'm rooting for Isaac. I'm rooting for Lindblad. Still rooting for Lawson. We'll see what happens in that front. But anyway, I'm Dylan Hildreth. This is the Dylan Hildreth Show, and we'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like I said, so you don't miss any football or racing, and we'll see you all in the next one.